Hello, everyone. My name is Robert Bernstein, and this is my week two presentation for MPA 594. So my presentation today will be about why is there a gap between policy enactment and policy implementation. So the issue is that policymakers often enact policy but leave the implementation plan unclear for administration. I know we see this happen a lot in federal government. From my personal experience, it happens a lot at the state level where, for example, they say something for the Department of Education, they say something like, we're going to give you a bucket of money to make sure kids or to decrease the absence rate at schools. They don't tell you how to give schools money, which schools to give money to. Are they only allowed to do certain things with those funds? Those things are left for the administration to figure out. And then that becomes a double-edged sword because policymakers can grow frustrated with slow implementation and administration can grow frustrated with vague policy. So the side effects of this issue are frustration, slow implementation, and the possibility that implementation without meeting the original intent. If the legislation is too vague, then implementation could be not what the original policymakers thought it would be. So my real-world example for this is the gas tax bill that was recently passed by the California legislature, also known as Senate Bill 1. The state faces a host of logistical tasks, including the need to hire engineers, staff, and consultants, as well as develop projects that can be implemented with these funds. I've included at the end of this presentation a link to the Sacramento Bee article that goes more in depth about the specific implementation and hiring problems, including the severe hiring shortage, where I believe there are over 2,000 open Department of Transportation jobs, and which is why they're worried that these projects will fall behind schedule. So although some projects have been scheduled, and I'm sure certain politicians have projects that they want to see in their district, like a new freeway, like filling in a crumbling old freeway or a new overpass. So I'm sure everyone has a pet project, but there's more than enough dollars in this gas tax that not all the projects have been personally picked out. It'll be up to the Department of Transportation to find and prioritize projects for these funds. And there's pressure from the governor and other powerful political actors to start spending so the public can see the good uses of its tax dollars. As elected officials, the governor and the state legislature are accountable to the public, and their jobs are on the line if implementation does not go well. The public holds the political actors responsible via voting, but it's administration that really has the control over whether these projects hit the ground running at this point. So I can see why these elected officials are putting a lot of pressure for big results from this tax. So the two theories that I picked for that I think this situation represents is Woodrow Wilson's politics, administration, dichotomy, and Frederick Taylor's scientific management. First, I believe Wilson's politics administration dichotomy holds up and makes sense here. It is not the political actors who implement policy, but it is the administration. This example makes it clear that there are two different steps being taken. It is not as simple as political actors saying something must get done, and then they either do it themselves or it magically gets done. There's the world of administration, and it's large and complex and plays a really crucial role in a lot of projects. So for example, as previously mentioned earlier, there's probably a lot of projects that the political actors want to see get done, but ultimately it's up to the administration. So non-elected officials have a crucial role to play in the rollout of these projects. This is why I agree with Wilson that administration is a crucial part of the process that deserves its own consideration and studies. In contrast, I believe this shows the limits of scientific management in modern-day administration. When it comes to complex policy implementation, finding the one best way to do something is not easy and may not even exist. I think the gas tax bill can be implemented in multiple ways, with not one way necessarily being the absolute right way. I also believe that an assembly line type of thinking would not apply in this situation as well. As noted, there are a lot of broad questions that have not been answered, such as which projects get priority, what are the best types of projects that can go quickly, what are the timelines, and those sorts of things. We need public administration professionals who can critically think and analyze situations to work on these projects. Taylor's theory more applies to once all projects have been picked, and when a team of engineers is working on fixing a road or a bridge, and maybe there's one best way to build that bridge, but picking what bridge gets replaced and how much that should cost and all that stuff, I think is more than easily described in an assembly line fashion. Now, I know that Taylor's theory was not originally intended for public administration, and it still has many good parts, but I believe it could use some revamping, especially when talking about public service, because of the broad scope and complex projects the public administrations or the public administrators find themselves in charge of. Here are the references, including the Sacramento Bee article that goes into more in depth about the gas tax if you have any questions. Thank you.